Corporal Daehyun Kim stood in the medical bay of the Harmony's Dawn and tried not to touch anything. Everything looked so different from human hospitals. The walls glowed with a soft blue light. Strange instruments floated in containers filled with liquid. And his new supervisor, Dr. Velrath, had 6 arms and looked like a giant praying mantis. "You will observe today," Dr. Velrath said. The translator device made the clicking sounds into words Daehyun could understand. "Touch nothing. Learn everything." Daehyun nodded. He had trained for 6 months to get this assignment. Humanity joined the Galactic Coalition only 3 years ago. The humans were still new, still learning. Working on an alien medical ship was supposed to build trust between species. Nurse Borahan walked past him carrying a tray of supplies. She had been here for 2 months already. "Don't worry," she whispered in Korean. "Dr. Velrath seems scary, but he's actually very kind." The medical bay was busy. Patients from 5 different species waited for treatment. A vellum with blue skin sat in a tank of water. A threnody that looked like living crystal lay on a special table. Dr. Velrath moved between them with smooth efficiency. Then the alarm started. Red lights flashed throughout the ship. Dr. Velrath's antennae shot straight up. "Emergency in Dock 7, the ship's computer announced. "Multiple casualties. Unknown pathogen detected." Everything happened fast after that. Medical teams ran toward the docking bay. Daehyun followed, his training kicking in. When they arrived, he saw chaos. A cargo ship had just docked. The crew was sick. All of them. They explored a new planet, someone explained. Found ruins, brought back samples. Daehyun helped carry the sick crew members to the medical bay. There were 12 of them, 4 different species, all showing the same symptoms: fever, weakness, trouble breathing. Their skin had dark patches spreading like bruises. Dr. Velrath worked quickly, taking samples and running tests. Other doctors arrived to help. Commander Hyunwoo Park, the human liaison officer, came to check on the situation. He was older, with gray hair and tired eyes. "How bad is it?" he asked. "Unknown," Dr. Velrath replied. "The pathogen is unlike anything in our database. It affects multiple species. That is rare. That is dangerous." By evening, more people were getting sick, not just the cargo ship crew. Some of the medical staff who treated them started showing symptoms too. The pathogen was spreading. Daehyun felt it first as tiredness. Then his head started hurting. By the time his shift ended, he knew he was infected. His body ached. His throat felt rough. When he checked his temperature, it read 38.5 degrees Celsius. He reported to Dr. Velrath immediately. "I think I'm sick," he said. The doctor's compound eyes examined him closely. "Sit. I will scan you." Bora came over looking worried. She checked her own temperature. 38.2, she said quietly. "I have it too." Dr. Velrath's instruments hummed as they scanned Daehyun. The doctor went very still. Then the instruments hummed again, louder. Dr. Velrath looked at the readings, looked at Daehyun, looked at the readings again. "This cannot be correct," the doctor said. "What's wrong?" Daehyun asked. "Your white blood cell count. It is impossible. The machine must be broken." Dr. Velrath grabbed a different scanner, then another one. All showed the same results. "Your cells are destroying themselves. Your body temperature is rising to lethal levels. You need immediate intervention." Daehyun frowned. "I just have a fever. I feel bad, but I'll be okay." "Okay?" "Doctor," Velrath's voice rose higher. "You are dying. Look at these readings. Your body is at war with itself." "That's just my immune system working," Daehyun tried to explain. "It's fighting the infection." Dr. Velrath called over other doctors. They looked at the scans. They looked at Daehyun. A Druvan doctor who looked like a lizard standing upright shook his head. "The human should be unconscious. These readings indicate massive system failure." "I feel tired and achy," Daehyun said. "But I'm not dying. This is normal for humans when we get sick." "Normal?" Dr. Velrath took a sample of Daehyun's blood. Within minutes, the analysis came back. The doctor stared at the results like they were written in an alien language, which was funny because to the doctor they probably were. Commander Hyunwoo arrived. "What's happening?" "The humans are infected," Dr. Velrath said. "But their bodies are doing something I do not understand. Come, look at this." The doctor put a drop of Daehyun's blood under a microscope and displayed it on a large screen. Everyone in the room stopped to watch. On the screen, cells moved like tiny warriors. White blood cells chased after the pathogen. When they caught it, they attacked. They surrounded it, destroyed it. More white blood cells arrived like reinforcements. The battle was fierce and fast. "By the founders," a Kixian nurse whispered. "They are hunting." "Your immune cells are killing the pathogen," Dr. Velrath said slowly. "But they are also destroying your own cells, causing inflammation, raising your temperature. This looks like your body is attacking itself." "It kind of is," Bora said. She had come to stand next to Daehyun. "But it's controlled. Our bodies kill infected cells to stop the pathogen from spreading. The fever makes it harder for the virus to reproduce. The inflammation brings more immune cells to fight. It's all part of the process." Dr. Velrath looked at them both like they had grown extra heads. "You are telling me that your body deliberately damages itself to fight infection?" "Well, yeah," Daehyun said. "Doesn't yours?" The silence that followed was long and uncomfortable. "No," Dr. Velrath finally said. "No species I know does this. We isolate the pathogen. We use chemical signals to neutralize it slowly. We do not raise our body temperature. We do not have cells that hunt and kill. This is..." The doctor paused. "This is extremely aggressive." More alarms sounded. Another patient was crashing, one of the Threnody. Dr. Velrath rushed to help, but it was too late. The crystalline being's structure began to crack. Within minutes, they were gone. Over the next few hours, 3 more patients died, all of them aliens. The remaining patients were getting worse. The medical staff who were infected were deteriorating rapidly, all except the humans. Daehyun's fever climbed to 39 degrees. He felt terrible, but he could still walk and talk. Bora was the same. They helped where they could, moving supplies and monitoring patients. Dr. Velrath watched them work with visible confusion. Finally, the doctor pulled them aside. "I must isolate you both. For study. Your biology is either killing you very slowly or..." The doctor trailed off. "Or it's working," Commander Hyunwoo finished. He had been watching from the doorway. "They're fighting it off, aren't they?" Dr. Velrath's antennae twitched with what might have been anxiety. "If I am interpreting the data correctly, yes. Their bodies are winning. But the process should kill them. The cellular damage, the fever, the inflammation. Any of my people subjected to this would die." "But we're not your people," Daehyun said gently. "This is what human bodies do. We get sick, we fight, we heal." Another alarm, another patient in critical condition. Dr. Velrath had to make a choice. Follow protocol and isolate the humans, keeping them from potentially spreading their aggressive biology. Or trust that this violent process was somehow normal and use it to save lives. The doctor looked at the dying patients, looked at the human blood samples, looked at Daehyun and Bora, sick but standing. "I need to understand your immune system, Doctor," Velrath said quietly. "I need to understand it right now, because if I can replicate what your body is doing..." The doctor's voice filled with something that might have been hope. "I might be able to save them." Daehyun nodded. "Then let's get started. What do you need?" "Everything," Dr. Velrath said. "I need to know everything about how humans fight disease. And I need to know it before more people die." The long night of discovery was just beginning. Lieutenant Jiwon Lee arrived on the emergency shuttle just after midnight. She burst into the medical bay carrying 3 cases of equipment and looking far too excited for someone entering a quarantine zone. "I heard you need a human immunology expert," she said, grinning at Dr. Velrath. "Lucky for you, That's exactly what I am. Dr. Velrath's antennae drooped with exhaustion. The doctor had been working for 18 hours straight. You should not be here. This area is contaminated. I'm human, Jiwan said, already unpacking her equipment. I'll be fine. Now show me what's confusing you. Daehyun watched from his bed in the isolation area. His fever had peaked at 39.5 degrees 2 hours ago. Now it was dropping. He felt weak but much better. Bora was already up and walking around, her fever completely gone. She had been sick for only 36 hours. Dr. Velrath pulled up the scans and data. The human immune response makes no logical sense. The fever alone should cause brain damage, but they recover. The inflammation should cause organ failure, but they heal. Their cells commit suicide to stop the infection, but more cells replace them. Jiwan studied the data with growing enthusiasm. Oh, this is beautiful. You're seeing a full adaptive immune response. Look here, see these markers? Those are T cells. And these? B cells producing antibodies. The human immune system has two parts, Doctor. Innate and adaptive. What you're seeing is both working together. Explain it simply, Dr. Velrath said. As if I am a child, Jiwan pulled up a holographic display. Okay. When a pathogen enters a human body, the innate immune system responds first. That's the fever, the inflammation, the cells that hunt and kill. It's fast but not specific. It attacks everything that looks wrong. She zoomed in on a white blood cell. See this? It's called a neutrophil. It eats pathogens. Just wraps around them and dissolves them. Humans have billions of these. Dr. Velrath looked disturbed. Your cells eat threats? Oh yeah, Jiwan said cheerfully. But that's just the beginning. While the innate system is fighting, the adaptive system is learning. Special cells are studying the pathogen. They're figuring out its exact structure. Then they design weapons specifically for it. We call those weapons antibodies. She pointed to Y-shaped structures floating in the blood sample. These are antibodies. Custom-made proteins that attach to this specific pathogen and mark it for destruction. The human body can make billions of different antibodies, each one designed for a different threat. Commander Hyunwoo had joined them. He looked at the dying alien patients. Can we use this? Can we use our antibodies to help them? That's what I'm here to find out, Jiwan said. Over the next 12 hours, Jiwan worked with Dr. Velrath to understand the pathogen better. It was a virus, small and fast replicating. It attacked cell membranes, which was why it could infect multiple species. Most alien immune systems tried to isolate and contain it. But the virus was too aggressive. It overwhelmed their defenses. Human immune systems didn't try to contain it. They declared war on it. Daehyun was cleared from isolation that morning. His body had completely eliminated the virus. His fever was gone. He felt normal again. Tired, but normal. Dr. Velrath scanned him again. Impossible, the doctor muttered. It had become the doctor's favorite word. What is? Daehyun asked. You are producing antibodies against the virus. Millions of them. They will remain in your blood for months. Possibly years. Possibly forever. Dr. Velrath looked at him with something like awe. You are immune now. If exposed again, your body will remember and respond even faster. Yeah, Daehyun said. That's how it works. I had chickenpox when I was 6. I'll never get it again. My body remembers. Your body remembers, Dr. Velrath repeated slowly. Your immune system has memory. All immune systems have memory, don't they? Bora asked. She was helping Jiwan prepare blood samples. No, said a vellum doctor nearby. Our bodies fight infections, but we do not develop lasting immunity. We can be infected by the same pathogen multiple times. Jiwan looked up from her work. Wait, seriously? You can get the same disease over and over? Yes, Dr. Velrath said. Most species can. The Kixian have limited memory for certain pathogens, but nothing like this. Nothing like what humans have. The implications settled over the room like a heavy blanket. Humans could be exposed to something once and never fear it again. Most species in the galaxy couldn't do that. No wonder you're all so worried about diseases, Daehyun said quietly. The breakthrough came that afternoon. Jiwan found a way to synthesize human antibodies in a form that wouldn't trigger rejection in alien biology. It required modifying the antibody structure, but the core remained the same. The weapon that human cells had designed could be used to help others. The first test subject was a young vellum named Kayla. She was dying, her blue skin turning gray. Dr. Velrath administered the modified antibody treatment with careful precision. Everyone watched the monitors. At first, nothing happened. Then slowly, Kayla's vital signs stabilized. The dark patches on her skin stopped spreading. Within an hour, she was breathing easier. "It is working," Dr. Velrath whispered. They treated the other critical patients next. Not all of them could receive the human-derived treatment. Some species had biology too different. But for those who could, the results were remarkable. Patients who were dying began to recover. But there were complications. A Druvan officer named Soren Kex had been watching the humans work. He approached Commander Hyunwoo with concern written across his reptilian features. "Your people," Soren said carefully. "Their biology is weaponized. You understand this, yes?" "Weaponized?" Commander Hyunwoo frowned. "They're medical personnel. Their bodies are weapons," Soren insisted. "They fight disease with controlled violence. They raise their temperature to levels that would kill my kind. Their cells hunt and destroy. What happens if a human decides to weaponize a pathogen? What if they create something only they can survive?" Commander Hyunwoo's expression hardened. "That's not who we are." "Perhaps not intentionally," Soren said. "But the capacity is there. Other species will fear this. The Council will want restrictions." As if summoning it, a priority message arrived. Commander Hyunwoo read it with growing tension. "There's been another outbreak. A military outpost. Same pathogen. They're requesting immediate assistance." Dr. Velrath looked at the recovering patients, then at the human medical team. "We should send our best people. We know how to fight this now." "They're specifically requesting human medical staff," Commander Hyunwoo said. "They've heard what happened here. They want the people who can survive the virus to treat it." Jiwon was already packing her equipment. "How soon can we leave?" "There's more," Commander Hyunwoo said. He looked uncomfortable. "The Council is sending observers. They want to evaluate human medical capabilities, to determine if we're safe to work in coalition facilities." The room went quiet. Dr. Velrath's antennae twitched with agitation. They questioned the humans. "After they saved lives here?" "Fear is stronger than gratitude," Bora said softly. "We knew this would happen eventually. We're different. Different scares people." Daehyun stood up. "Then we show them there's nothing to fear. We go to this outpost. We help them. We prove that our biology isn't a weapon. It's a tool we want to share." Dr. Velrath looked at the human team for a long moment. Finally, the doctor's mandibles clicked in what might have been approval. "I will go with you. As Chief Medical Officer, it is my duty. And as someone who has seen what humans can do, it is my honor." The Harmony's Dawn changed course toward the military outpost. In the medical bay, the patients continued to recover. The synthesized antibodies were working. Human immunity, modified and shared, was saving lives across species. But as the ship traveled through space, Soren Keck sent his reports to the Galactic Council, reports about human biology, about their aggressive immune systems, about their ability to survive what killed others. Some would read those reports and see hope. Others would see threat. And on a jungle planet at the edge of explored space, a military outpost was learning just how hostile a world could be when human medicine wasn't there to help. The real test was just beginning. Outpost Kepler 442 looked worse than Daehyun expected. The research station sat in the middle of a jungle that seemed to glow with bioluminescent plants. Beautiful but clearly dangerous. Scorch marks covered the outer walls. Some windows were shattered, and the landing pad showed signs of hasty repairs. "They said it was just a viral outbreak," Jiwon muttered as the shuttle touched down. "It is," Dr. Velrath said, checking the scanner. "But the planet itself is hostile. Multiple indigenous predators. Aggressive plant life. The research team has had problems beyond the virus. The airlock opened, and they were hit with humidity so thick it felt like walking into a warm ocean." Commander Hyunwoo led the way, followed by the medical team. Security officers, including the still suspicious Soren Kex, fanned out around them. A human man stumbled toward them. He looked exhausted, his uniform stained with sweat and other fluids. His face was flushed with fever, but he was smiling. "Thank every god you're here," he said. "I'm Dr. Minho Choi, xenobiologist. Acting medical officer for the past 3 days because everyone else is too sick to stand." Bora immediately pulled out her scanner. "You're infected." "Obviously," Minho said. "Have been for 4 days. But I'm human, so I'm still working. Come on, the medical bay is this way. Fair warning, it's bad. Bad was an understatement. The medical bay was packed with dying patients. 15 different species, all in various stages of infection. Most of the medical staff were patients themselves now. The only people still working were Minho and a human environmental technician named Unji Nam, who looked like she was about ready to collapse. "I'm not even a real medic," Unji said when Daehyun introduced himself. "I fix air filters, but I can't fix people." She was crying, probably from exhaustion and stress. "You kept them alive until we got here," Bora said gently. "That's everything." Dr. Velrath immediately began assessing the patients. Jiwon started setting up her equipment. Daehyun helped Minho to a chair before the man fell down. "Tell me what happened," Daehyun said. Minho took a long drink of water. "Research team found ruins about 5 kilometers from here. Ancient civilization, maybe millions of years old. They brought back samples. Artifacts, plant material, soil. Standard procedure, but something in those samples was alive. A virus dormant for who knows how long. It woke up in our lab." "How did it spread so fast?" Commander Hyunwoo asked. "The environment," Minho said. "This planet is hot and wet. Perfect for viral replication. The pathogen mutated within days. Became more aggressive. The variant here is worse than what you dealt with on the Harmony's Dawn. Our people started dropping within hours of exposure." Dr. Velrath appeared, looking disturbed. "He is correct. This is a different variant. More virulent. More deadly. But you survived," Jiwon said to Minho. "You're infected but functional." "I'm human," Minho said, as if that explained everything, which Daehyun thought it kind of did. They set up triage quickly. The most critical patients received the synthesized antibody treatment first, but Dr. Velrath discovered another problem. The mutated virus was resistant to the antibodies from the ship. The weapon Jiwon had designed for the first variant didn't work as well on this one. "We need fresh antibodies," Jiwon said, "from someone who's fighting this specific variant." Everyone looked at Minho. He nodded tiredly. "Take whatever you need." The scan of Minho's blood showed something remarkable. His immune system wasn't just fighting the virus. It had already adapted to the mutation. In only 4 days, his body had analyzed the new threat and created new antibodies, custom weapons for a custom enemy. "This should not be possible," Dr. Velrath said. It was starting to sound like a mantra. "Adaptation takes time. Generations, not days." "For most evolution, sure," Jiwon said, studying the data with fascination. "But the human immune system evolves in real time. Within a single body, within a single infection, it's constantly adapting, constantly improving its response." Soren Kex had been watching silently. Now he spoke up. "And you see nothing concerning about this? A species that adapts to threats in days? I see it as survival," Commander Hyunwoo said firmly. "Nothing more." But Daehyun could see the fear in the alien officer's eyes. And he understood it. To species that couldn't adapt quickly, humans must seem almost supernatural, impossibly resilient. They synthesized antibodies from Minho's blood and began treating the critical patients. The results were better this time. The adapted antibodies worked on the mutated virus. Lives were saved, but saving lives didn't stop the fear. That night, Yoonji collapsed. Her fever spiked to 40.5 degrees Celsius. She was delirious, shaking with chills despite the heat. The alien medical staff panicked. Those temperatures were fatal to every species they knew. "She's cooking," a Kixian nurse said, horrified. "Her brain will be damaged." "No, it won't," Bora said calmly. She was already applying cool compresses, managing the fever with practiced efficiency. "This is high, yes. But humans can survive this. Her body is fighting hard." Soren Kex watched the human medical team work on their own species. They seemed concerned but not terrified. They treated a fever that should kill as merely something to manage and monitor. "How?" Soren asked. "How can any species survive internal temperatures that would denature our proteins?" Daehyun looked up from checking Yoonji's vital signs. "Do you really want to know?" "Yes. Then sit down," Daehyun said. "Because it's not a pretty story." He spoke while working, his hands steady even as he explained. "Humans evolved on a death world. Earth wasn't always nice. We survived ice ages and heat waves, predators and prey. But the worst threats were invisible. Diseases, plagues, viruses and bacteria that killed faster than any predator." He adjusted Yoonji's cooling blanket. "Millions of years ago, our ancestors started dying from infections. Whole populations. But some humans had mutations, random genetic changes that made their immune systems stronger, more aggressive. Those humans survived. They had children. Those children inherited the aggressive immunity. Natural selection, Dr. Velrath said quietly. Exactly, Daehyun continued. But it happened over and over. Every plague, every epidemic, every outbreak. The humans who survived were the ones who could fight the hardest. Who could raise their body temperature to kill the pathogen? Who could trigger inflammation to wall off infections? Who could sacrifice their own cells to stop the spread? He looked at Soren. We're not special. We're not superior. We're survivors. Every human alive today is descended from people who survived diseases that killed everyone around them. We inherited their immune systems, their ability to fight back. The room was silent except for the hum of medical equipment. Your entire species, Soren said slowly, is the result of millions of years of biological warfare. Yes, Bora said. She was monitoring Yoonji's fever as it started to drop, and we're offering to share every survival trick we learned. Because we know what it's like to watch people die from diseases we can't fight. Later that night, Yoonji's fever broke. By morning, she was weak but recovering. Another human fighting off what should have been fatal, but the political damage was spreading faster than any virus. Reports had reached the Galactic Council. Reports about human resilience, about their ability to adapt, about their weaponized biology. Commander Hyunwoo received the official message at dawn. Human medical personnel are being recalled from all coalition facilities, pending a biological safety review. When? Dr. Velrath asked. Immediately, the medical team stood in the bay surrounded by recovering patients. Patients who would have died without human intervention. Patients who were alive because humans shared their immunity. They fear us, Jiwon said quietly. Yes, Dr. Velrath said, but that does not make them right. Before anyone could say more, alarms blared throughout the outpost. Security breach. Something was coming through the perimeter. On the monitors, they saw shapes moving through the jungle. Large shapes. Fast shapes. The indigenous predators Minho had mentioned, and they were heading straight for the outpost. Everyone to defensive positions, the security chief called. Soren grabbed his weapon. The humans should evacuate. It's not safe. None of us are safe, Commander Hyunwoo said, checking his own sidearm. But we don't abandon people. The creatures hit the perimeter fence with enough force to buckle the metal. They looked like massive cats mixed with something crystalline, their claws gleaming in the bioluminescent jungle light. 6 legs, armored heads, teeth like daggers. The security team opened fire, but there were too many creatures. One broke through the inner fence. It charged toward the medical bay where the injured lay helpless. Daehyun didn't think. He grabbed a metal pole and ran toward it, yelling to draw its attention. The creature turned, faster than something that size should move. It struck him across the arm with one massive paw. Daehyun felt bones crack. Pain exploded through him, but his body dumped adrenaline into his bloodstream. He kept fighting. Minho tackled the creature from the side, despite his fever. Bora hit it with a medical scanner, the heavy device making a satisfying crack against the beast's skull. Together, they drove it back long enough for security to take it down. But the damage was done. Daehyun's arm was deeply lacerated. Minho had claw marks across his chest. Bora's ribs were cracked from where the creature had swatted her aside. Jiwon had a puncture wound through her thigh, blood spreading across her uniform. Daehyun woke the next morning and immediately regretted it. Every muscle in his body hurt. His arm throbbed where the creature had torn through skin and muscle. But when he looked at the wound, he was surprised it looked better. Not healed, but definitely better. The edges were beginning to close. New tissue was forming, pink and tender but real. Dr. Velrath appeared beside his bed, scanner in hand. The doctor had barely slept. You should be in critical condition. The tissue damage was extensive. You should require surgical intervention. Maybe for your species, Daehyun said, sitting up carefully. For humans, this is a bad injury, but not life-threatening. I've had worse. The doctor's antennae twitched. You have been injured worse than this? And survived? I'm a combat medic, Daehyun said. I got shot during a peacekeeping mission on Theta Station. Bullet went through my shoulder. I was back to work in 6 weeks. Dr. Velrath made a sound that the translator couldn't interpret, probably something like disbelief mixed with horror. Across the medical bay, Jiwon was already up and moving. She had a crutch but was managing to walk despite the puncture wound through her thigh. The medical staff watched her like she was performing magic. The wound penetrated completely through the muscle, a vellum doctor said. She should not be able to bear weight on that leg for weeks. It hurts, Jiwon admitted. But I can work through it. Just need to keep it clean and give it time. Bora was slower to move. Broken ribs were painful, and there wasn't much to do for them except wait. But she was breathing normally, and the scans showed the bones were already beginning to heal. Her body was laying down new calcium, building bridges across the fractures. The bone is regenerating, Dr. Velrath observed. Without surgical pinning, without external support, bones heal, Bora said, wincing as she adjusted her position. It takes 6 to 8 weeks, but they heal. They actually get stronger where they broke. Minho was perhaps the most battered. The claw marks across his chest were deep and painful, but he was also still fighting off the virus, and his body was handling both challenges simultaneously, fighting infection while repairing trauma. You humans, Dr. Velrath said, shaking their head. You are medical impossibilities. Over the next day, the alien medical staff watched the humans heal with fascinated horror. Every hour brought visible changes. Swelling went down. Bruises shifted from purple to green to yellow as the body broke down and recycled the blood. Wounds closed incrementally, new skin forming from the edges inward. Dr. Velrath examined Daehyun's arm again and found something new. There are specialized cells flooding the wound site. They are constructing new tissue. Collagen matrices. Blood vessel formation. This is coordinated regeneration. That's what healing is, Daehyun said. For you, the doctor replied. For most species, severe tissue damage is permanent. We can repair surgically, but natural regeneration of this scale, we cannot do this. Jiwon was documenting everything on her medical pad. This is actually a perfect teaching opportunity. Doctor, can I show you something? She pulled up a cellular view of her healing thigh wound. See these cells? These are fibroblasts. They make collagen, which forms the structure of new tissue. And these smaller cells? Those are the endothelial cells forming new blood vessels. The wound needs blood supply to heal, so the body grows new vessels. Your body grows new blood vessels, Dr. Velrath repeated. On demand. As needed, yeah, Jiwon said. It's called angiogenesis. Happens whenever we're healing. The body is really good at rebuilding itself. A Druvan nurse spoke up. But the energy cost must be enormous. Cellular construction requires significant resources. It does, Bora agreed. That's why we need to eat more when we're healing. Our metabolism increases. We need protein for building new tissue, vitamins for various processes, calories for energy. A healing human needs about 500 extra calories per day. The alien medical staff exchanged glances. The implications were staggering. Humans could repair themselves from serious injuries using only food and time. No advanced medical technology required. Just biological processes that happened automatically. Soren Kex had been observing quietly. Now he approached Commander Hunwoo. Your people are even more dangerous than I thought. Dangerous? Commander Hyunwoo's voice was cold. They're injured. They're healing. That's not dangerous. They were attacked by apex predators and survived, Soren said. They sustained injuries that would kill or permanently disable most species, and they are recovering within days. This level of resilience is a tactical advantage. A military advantage. It's a survival advantage, Commander Hyunwoo corrected, and we're not hiding it. We're explaining it. We're teaching your doctors how human biology works. Why? Soren asked. Why share this information? Because maybe it can help, Commander Hyunwoo said. Maybe understanding how humans heal can improve medicine for everyone. That's the whole point of being in the coalition. To share, to help each other. Soren looked at the humans working in the medical bay. Injured but functional. Sick but recovering. Exhausted but still helping others. Your species either has extraordinary altruism or extraordinary naivety. Maybe both, Commander Hyunwoo said. The political situation grew more tense. Messages arrived from the Galactic Council every few hours. There would be an investigation. Human biology would be evaluated. Restrictions were being considered. Dr. Velrath called a meeting that evening. The alien doctor looked tired and frustrated. The council observers arrive tomorrow. They will see injured humans who should be incapacitated but are working. They will see viral patients who should be dying but are recovering. They will see everything that makes them afraid. So we show them the truth, Minho said. We show them that we're not threats. We're just different. Different is what they fear, Dr. Velrath said sadly. But fate had other plans. That night, the outpost's environmental systems began failing. The air started to smell wrong. The computers detected rising carbon dioxide levels. Yunji, the environmental technician, ran diagnostics. It's the biological filters, she said, her voice panicked. The organisms that process our air, they're dying. From what? Commander Hyunwoo demanded. The pathogen, Dr. Velrath said, checking the scans. It has evolved again. It is now affecting the filter organisms. Without them, we have perhaps 48 hours of breathable air. Minho looked at the data. The virus isn't trying to kill them. It's trying to colonize them. But their immune systems can't handle the integration. They're dying from the attempt. Can we replace the filters? Soren asked. Not in time, Yunji said. It takes weeks to grow new filter organisms. And we can't evacuate. There's a storm system moving in. Nothing can fly through it. The medical bay fell silent. Around them, patients who were finally recovering now faced a new threat. Suffocation. Ji-won looked at the data on the filter organisms, looked at the virus, looked at the scans of human immune responses. Her eyes went wide. What if we teach them to fight back? She said. Teach who? Dr. Velrath asked. The filter organisms. What if we introduce human immune cells, modified to work with their biology? Not to fight for them, but to show them how to fight? It was a radical idea. Xenobiology on a scale that hadn't been attempted. Using human immune responses to train alien organisms to defend themselves. It might not work, Minho said, but he was smiling. But it's brilliant, and we have to try. Dr. Velrath looked at the dying filter organisms, looked at the humans who kept surprising with their biology, made a decision. Explain to me exactly what you need, the doctor said. We begin immediately. They worked through the night, extracting immune cells from Dae-hyun, who had the strongest response to the viral variants, modifying them to interface with the filter organism's biology, introducing them carefully, watching for rejection. At first, nothing happened. Then slowly, the filter organisms began to respond. The human immune cells weren't attacking the virus for them. They were showing the organism's own defensive systems how to recognize and respond to the threat. It was cooperation at the cellular level. Humans teaching aliens how to survive. By morning, the carbon dioxide levels had stabilized. The filter organisms were learning. They were adapting. They were surviving. And the coalition observer's ship was entering orbit. Dr. Velrath stood in the observation bay watching the approaching vessel. Beside them, Dae-hyun cleaned his healing arm wound, changing the bandage with practiced efficiency. They will see what humans can do, Dr. Velrath said. They will see your resilience, your healing, your immunity. They will see all the reasons to fear you. Or, Dae-hyun said quietly, they'll see all the reasons to work with us. The doctor's antennae drooped. I hope you are right. Because if they are not convinced, humanity's place in the coalition ends today. The observer's shuttle descended through the atmosphere, carrying the judgment of a dozen species, and in the medical bay, injured humans continued their impossible healing, unaware that their biology was on trial. High Chancellor Thevrus was old even by Kixian standards. The elderly insectoid moved slowly down the shuttle ramp, compound eyes taking in everything. Behind came observers from 12 different species, each one carrying scanners and recording equipment. They came to judge, to evaluate, to decide if humans were safe to remain in the coalition. Commander Hyunwoo greeted them formally. Welcome to Outpost Kepler 442. We're grateful for your attention to this matter. We will determine if gratitude is appropriate, Chancellor Thevrus said. The translator made the clicking sounds crisp and cold. We have read concerning reports. We must see for ourselves. Dr. Velrath stepped forward. Then allow me to show you everything. We hide nothing. The tour began in the medical bay. The observers saw the recovering patients, most of them alien species who had been dying days before. They saw the synthesized antibody treatments. They saw the data on human immune responses. And they saw the humans themselves. Dae-hyun with his healing arm wound, walking and working. Bora with cracked ribs, still monitoring patients. Ji-won with a punctured thigh, moving on a crutch but refusing to stop. Minho with deep claw marks across his chest, somehow still functioning despite fighting both injury and illness. Explain this, Chancellor Thevrus said, pointing at Dae-hyun. Your medical report says severe tissue trauma. Yet you work. It's healing, Daehyun said simply. It hurts, but I can manage. I'm needed here. A Vellum observer scanned him. The wound closure rate is impossible. You should require surgical intervention. My body is doing the intervention, Daehyun explained. Automatically. It's laying down new tissue, growing new blood vessels, fighting off infection all at the same time. That's just how human healing works. The observers exchanged concerned looks. One of them, a crystalline Threnody, spoke. This level of regeneration suggests accelerated cellular division. That should lead to cancer or other mutations. Ji-won limped over, her data pad ready. Actually, human bodies have multiple cancer prevention systems. We have tumor suppressor genes, DNA repair mechanisms, programmed cell death for damaged cells. Yes, we have faster cellular division, but we also have better quality control. You have evolved solutions to the problems your own biology creates, an observer noted. Exactly, Ji-won said. That's evolution. Problem and solution, developed together over millions of years. Chancellor Thievrus moved through the medical bay slowly, observing everything. The elderly Kixian stopped at Yoonji's bedside. The young woman was awake now, her fever completely gone after 2 days. You had a temperature of 40.5 degrees, the Chancellor said. That should have caused permanent neurological damage. It felt awful, Yoonji admitted. But I'm okay now. My brain is fine. Humans can handle high fevers. It's part of our immune response. A response that would kill most species. Yes, Yoonji said. But not us. We're built different. The Chancellor's antennae twitched. That is what concerns us. Suddenly alarms blared. Not attack alarms this time. Environmental alarms. The observers rushed to the control room where Minho and his team were working frantically. The filter organisms are failing again, Minho said. The virus mutated overnight. Our treatment isn't working anymore. Carbon dioxide levels were rising fast. Everyone could feel it, the air getting heavier, harder to breathe. Evacuate, Chancellor Thievrus ordered. We must leave before the storm, Commander Hyunwoo interrupted. It's directly overhead now. Nothing can fly through it. We're trapped here for at least 12 hours. Then we die here, a Druvan observer said flatly. Without air filtration, we have perhaps 6 hours. The room fell into chaos. Some observers panicked. Others began making emergency calls. But the humans gathered around the data terminal studying the problem. The virus keeps adapting, Ji-won said. It's not trying to kill the filter organisms. It wants to live with them. But every time they try to integrate, the organisms die because they can't handle it. Their immune systems are too weak, Daehyun said. They need a stronger response. But they don't have one. Minho looked at the data, then at his fellow humans, then back at the data. What if we don't just teach them? What if we give them the tools? Explain, Dr. Velrath said urgently. We modified human immune cells before, right? To work with the filter organisms' biology, but we only use them to show the organisms how to fight. What if we actually integrate human immune components into their system? Permanently? That is not teaching, Chancellor Thievrus said. That is alteration. That is survival, Commander Hyunwoo said. And right now we need survival. Dr. Velrath looked at the Chancellor. With respect, we must try. All of us die otherwise. The elderly Kixian looked around the room, at the panicking observers, at the calm humans, at the data showing 6 hours until suffocation. Proceed, the Chancellor said. They worked faster than before. Daehyun donated more immune cells. The team modified them, adapted them, prepared them for integration. This wasn't just showing the filter organisms how to fight. This was giving them actual human immune components, translated into a form they could use. It was unprecedented xenobiology. It was risky. It might not work. They introduced the modified cells into the filtration system. Everyone watched the monitors, the observers crowding around to see. At first, nothing. The carbon dioxide kept rising. 5 hours of air left. Then 4. Then something changed. The filter organisms began responding. Not with their own weak immune systems. With the human components. The modified cells were teaching, guiding, protecting. The organisms learned. They adapted. They began fighting back against the virus, not by destroying it. By accepting it. By integrating it in a way that didn't kill them. It's working, Minho whispered. They're reaching symbiosis. The carbon dioxide levels stabilized. Then slowly began to drop. The filter organisms weren't just surviving. They were thriving. The virus was becoming part of their biology instead of their death sentence. Chancellor Thevris watched the cellular activity on the screens. You gave them part of your immune system. A modified version, Jiwan said. Adapted to work with their biology. It's not human anymore. It's something new. A hybrid. You created a new form of immunity, an observer said, awe in their voice, using human biology as a template. Dr. Velrath spoke up then, addressing the entire delegation. When I first encountered human immune systems, I was terrified. They seemed like weapons, aggressive, violent, dangerous. I thought humans were a threat to the coalition. The doctor moved to stand beside Dae-hyun. But I was wrong. Yes, human biology is aggressive. Yes, they fight disease with controlled violence. Yes, they heal from injuries that would kill us. But they are not using these abilities to dominate. They are sharing them to help. You gave us your antibodies when we were dying, Dr. Velrath continued. You showed us how fever works, how inflammation protects, how adaptive immunity remembers. You volunteered your bodies for research when you were sick yourselves, and now you have saved us all by giving your immune capabilities to organisms that needed them. The doctor turned to Chancellor Thevris. Humans are not dangerous because they are strong. They are powerful because they are generous. The room was silent except for the hum of the now functioning air filters. Chancellor Thevris approached Dae-hyun. The elderly Kixian moved slowly, studying the human carefully. You were injured protecting patients who are not your species. They needed help, Dae-hyun said. You donated your blood, your cells, your immune system to save strangers. That's what medics do. You gave part of your biology away to organisms you will never meet, to save people who were judging you. It was the right thing to do. Chancellor Thevris was quiet for a long moment. Then the elderly alien's antennae dipped in what might have been a bow. Perhaps we were judging the wrong thing. We feared your strength. We should have been learning from your compassion. Over the next hours, the storm cleared. The observers completed their evaluation. But it was nothing like anyone expected. Instead of restrictions, they proposed collaboration. The coalition would establish an immunology research institute, with humans and aliens working together. They would study how different species fight disease, how immune systems evolved, how biological solutions could be shared. Every species has evolved different solutions to survival, Chancellor Thevris explained. The Vellum can survive pressure extremes. The Druvan have incredible sensory capabilities. The Threnodi can withstand temperatures that would melt metal, and humans have immune systems that can fight almost anything. The elderly Kixian looked at the assembled team. Separately, we are each specialized. Together, we are complete. That is what the coalition should be. Not competing, cooperating. Soren Kex, who had been so suspicious before, approached Commander Hyunwoo. I apologize. I saw your people as weapons, but weapons do not heal. Weapons do not teach. Weapons do not give parts of themselves away to save others. We're not weapons, Commander Hyunwoo said. We're survivors, and we want to help others survive too. 3 months later, the Coalition Medical Academy opened its new human immunology department on a space station above Earth. Dae-hyun stood in front of a classroom full of students from 15 different species. Welcome to Introduction to Human Immune Systems, he said. I know this seems intimidating. You've heard stories about human biology, about aggressive immune responses,